Hello, and welcome back to the bakery. I'm your host, Zach Warlock, aka Team Rosemary. Joining me is lovely as always, Mr. Maceo. Maceo, how you doing, man?
Always glad to be here. I'm a little tired. We'll bring the honesty out right away, but you know, nothing like a good League of Legends match to wake me up.
Oh yeah, and we got a great one that's gonna do just that. We got two teams that are honestly just absolutely dumpstering this competition. We got our undefeated Camp Autumn, and we have Gank Spank, a solid 2-1. Both teams have some very scary players on their team. They both have really good coordination. They've been showing up, they've been showing out. So I think we're gonna have a really exciting match. And while we're on the topic, if we look over at our current standings really quick, you can see that Camp Autumn is currently undefeated, along with the other team, Puffy Poro. That's my team, so shout out to me. I'm amazing.
The best to ever do it.
That's right, and super humble too. But then we also have Gank Spank. Those are going to be our other opponent today. 2-1, both in the top of the leaderboards. And Camp Autumn is going to be looking for their 4-0. They want to stay undefeated for sure. And Gank Spank, they don't want to fall back into the lower bracket, so they're looking for their win so they can stay in the top 5 teams for sure. So going to be an exciting match with some skill levels, and it's going to be one that's of reasonable importance because both teams don't want to give up their amazing leads that they've started the tournament with.
Oh yeah, and while I'm not too aware of the dominance that is Gankspank, I am very well aware of the dominance of Camp Autumn. They may be the reason I don't have a team. They absolutely demolished us in scrims, and it was mainly because of the dynamic duo of their ADC and what I believe is now their top lane. When we played, they were moving him around quite a bit. Had him mid, had him top. I believe now Ava, if I remember correctly, is their top laner now. And I mean, this guy, sheesh, he could play. Those two a combination, I mean, they play just so well together. They're able to find leads wherever they see them, really. And when they get a lead, it's almost impossible to stop them from running you over. That's how they've been able to catch a dominant 3-0 so far.
Yeah, they are definitely a scary bunch. I think Ava is going to be staying as their mid laner today. Second hero is going to normally their top laner. He's subbed out for the day. Not available. So they got Mega Mommy, who's filling in. Not really familiar with this player very much, but I'm assuming of reasonable skill level. Looks like Silver 2 with only 6 games, likely to be a gold player if putting in the effort.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So when I was scrimming with them, I do know of Mega Mommy, a very solid player. When she played back in our scrim, she was experimenting a lot with the Urgot. It was a little tough for her as far as rotating and trying to really play around the team, but they've had plenty of time to work on that. And I mean, when she played tank, I mean, she played extremely well. So excited to see what she can do as the sub for the game here today, and hopefully they can pull out what could be their 4th win.
Yeah, and I know Team Gangspank, they have some pretty scary players on their team as well. Vaz in the top lane, I know, is kind of their high elo player, representing the high diamonds of the league. And he's got the notorious Gangplank that their mascot is built off of. He is a terror on that Gangplank. Those barrels are popping each people left, right, and center. So if he slips through the bans, I'm going to be shocked, confused, and excited all at the same time.
I mean, hopefully it really does go through. It's been a while since I've seen a good Gangplank. I kind of want to see one today.
Yeah, and I do know that they have some other amazing players. I've seen Pius Piper played before, and I believe he's normally a mid lane main as well. Plays a little bit of top, I'm sure, but I know him a lot for these like assassin picks. Like I know he's played Fizz, he's played Jace, Yone, things like that. So I imagine he's probably going to stay in that lane as well. We might see him come out with some casters or some AD mids. But I'm thinking with the new nerfs, both Corki and Tristan are going to fall a lot out of the meta. So we could definitely see some more pickups, maybe towards that like Sylas as a steal. I know Ava really loves playing Sylas, so perhaps they can use that to take a quick steal. But they chose red side, so they're going to have the final counter pick. They could leave that for their mid laner. They could leave it for their top laner. Those generally the two roles that you're going to try to leave that counter pick for. But yeah, we'll just have to kind of see where they line up in the draft.
Yeah, and it is interesting that both Corki and Tristana kind of got pulled out of the meta. At least in the context of the games that we're seeing here throughout these weeks, we didn't see it very often anyway. But something that is to be noted, both of them going out does give more room for more carry top laners to show their faces, like the Gangplank. And there were, I believe, some nerfs to some of the AP junglers as well, slowing down their clears. So once again, giving more opportunity for maybe tank junglers to really shine and allow for like those assassins that we see in Silas, but more mages. Oriana is seeing a bit of a comeback as well. I've seen some Hueys in mid lane, so a lot more options now that they're nerfed. There very well could be some meta, maybe about a week down the line, where we see more ADCs. In my mind, I was instantly thinking after the nerfs, like, oh well, now it's going to be like Lucian in mid lane once again, but haven't seen too much of it yet. Hopefully, I just didn't speak a curse into the air and we see Lucians running around mid. But we have yet to see. I'm like in the mid lane game so far.
Yeah, well, and even with some of the other mid lane picks that we've seen, we know like LEC and LCS have been playing a lot of Ezreal mid as kind of these safer picks when they don't want to get through Tristana or Corki in the draft. We've seen some of the other examples, like I've seen Jace mid. He's a fairly common one. Even people like TF. Oh, and it looks like we're going straight into the draft here. Let's see if we can load it up really quick. And immediately we see the Gangplank getting banned out. Not even gonna hold it off for suspense, just immediately taking it out. It's what we expect to see, but I have to be honest, I'm a little sad.
Yeah, I mean, it was a bit inevitable, wasn't it? There's no way that they're letting that one slide with how prominent it is on him. But we see this Sejuani ban on the other side, relatively normal. Ashe as well, going to be the second ban. More traditional than anything. The Freljord's going down. Both of them are very prevalent in the meta so far. Lissandra's the third. We're not going to see her banned. Not very likely unless there's a one trick, but the 1 and 2 are gone. Kaisa as well. Seems to be more of like a jungler and ADC heavy ban here. We'll have to see what this final ban is going to be. I would imagine double ADC. Yep, Corki's out. And we'll see what goes on as the first pick.
Yeah, Camp Autumn does get the first pick here. I could see them grabbing their mid. Oh, they're going to blind pick the Mundo. That's an interesting choice. Mundo is a champion that we've seen in the tournament so far. We saw him featured last week, and he didn't really do a whole lot. We kind of saw him survive, and that was about it. He doesn't really offer a whole lot to team fights. He doesn't have an insane amount of damage, although he has some if he gets ahead. But he's just unreasonably tanky, and his whole shtick is that he can get away with having 2 or 3 people chase him down while he runs away. So hopefully they're able to put that Mundo to good use. I could see them just saying, hey, mid and top lane are going to be our carries, so let's just grab our top lane and our jungle as some tanks with some CC, and let's just funnel our 2 carries that we know are going to be really strong.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not really a heavy counter actually coming up in the first wave of picks here. I was actually hoping to see some more punishing counter on such an early pick. Mundo is actually very good into a lot of top laners, but has very specific bad matchups that maybe they could have exploited, but they let it slide. We might actually see some top lane bans here as well. TF, you do see a top side. Most likely that was going to be a mid lane ban, though. On the other side, we have Renata, Zach, Gragas, and then with that Mundo complemented by Maokai and Zeri. No support bans on that Zeri either. Just going to go Vayne and Tristana, I believe, as the second wave bans here. Not really targeted, to be honest with you. Maybe taking something away from that Zeri to not give her so much opportunity to shine, namely the Seraphine. A prominent pick from this team, Camp Autumn, and they're going to be able to lock it in as well. I mean, that's just a very strong bot lane. Could be going mid. I could see it, but they typically do like to play that in the combination. Zyra is not as good with Zeri, so most likely going to be something like a Zyra mid.
Yeah, it could be the Zeri flex pick as well. I'm thinking that Camp Autumn didn't get the memo for the second time in a row that they're supposed to pick in the draft order, not the order of which they're playing their own champions. So pretty sure that they just went straight down the line as they were trying to. Gank, on the other hand, actually doing a good job at following the instructions and going in the order that they were supposed to, which is how they drafted their draft hole. So yeah, I think that's going to be a Zeri mid. Probably was originally going to be a flex pick. I assume they probably picked up the Zyra Zeri in the first half of the draft, and then as things kind of panned out a little bit, they decided to pivot it to the mid lane.
Yeah, they're certainly not making it easy for me. But yeah, I mean, and we can definitely see that flex pick mid. What is likely going to be going up against is the Gragas mid. Am I correct on that? They picked in that order?
Yeah, I'm expecting the Aatrox and the Renata to trade, but perhaps they're trading lanes and champions, or maybe they just didn't put themselves in draft order before they hit start. At this point, I'm willing to just believe anything.
Yeah, anything goes, anything rules. Most likely going to be the Twitch Renata. We will hold our horses and for some major revelation of the Renata top Aatrox support. But until that happens, we'll have to go with what is most likely going to be the case. Aatrox top into the Mundo. Um, Once it's okay as an Aatrox main. You don't do anything to Mundo. Mundo doesn't do anything to you. You could both exist in lane at 6. You may be able to find a pick if the Mundo really wants to fight you. But once again, one of the big positives of Mundo is that he can kind of just get away with it if you don't have any hard CC, anything that lock him down. He can just run around, heal his HP back up, and fight you on his terms. We'll see in that mid lane. I also don't think much is going to happen in the mid lane as well. Grog is very tanky, very hard to kill for someone like Zeri, who's definitely more of a mid to late game. She has basically no damage in the early game, and if she's a solo laner, it's going to take a while before she gets anywhere. So we most likely will see action in that bot side, where we'll have Twitch Renata and a Seraphine Zyra lane. Seraphine Zyra, despite them being a double mage comp, I mean, their execution is I mean, they deal a lot of damage for two very squishy champions. So ganks can come down on those two and they can blow up extremely quickly, but with no intervention, I mean, they can kill Twitch or Renata at maybe 60-70% from level 3 on.
Oh yeah, Tyrene's gonna have his work cut out for him. He does seem to be playing a lot of Twitch recently. It seems to be one of the main champions that he's fixated on. So hopefully we'll be able to see some hyper carry potential coming out from him. Really used to using the ultimates and the invisibility to kind of sneak around the map, pump out a little bit of damage, kind of like that assassin Twitch that we're used to seeing. And I think the Renata really does help funnel that idea of kind of an all-in attack. The real trick is going to be making sure you can get that all in before you get chunked out. Because like you were saying, Seraphine and Zyra, if they couple their strength together, they land one snare and you're already down to a third of your health. So if you take a little bit of poke and then get hit by that snare, you better pray that you took cleanse or you're going to die.
Yeah, and I mean, a big actually contender for this is that Renata and Twitch don't have a lot of wave clear compared to Seraphine Zyra, who can, if they really want to, just spam all their abilities on the wave and kill it in 5 to 6 seconds. So it's not going to give Twitch a great opportunity to find time to leave the lane. And Twitch in lane is bad. He's very bad. He's not a great ADC in lane. You really do want to find opportunities to maybe push that wave out with the help of a jungler or something like that, and find some picks in mid lane. It's why you see him a little bit more in jungle nowadays. You don't see him too often in ADC. I'm excited to see more often than not what the build path is for Twitch in this new age of items, whether he goes the traditional route of just double ADC attack speed items, Runons into maybe PD, something like that, or if he goes one of the newer age routes. I know I've seen Twitch jungle run. It was like there was a couple of people that I played against that ran Black Cleaver first item into what was the health item that cleaves. You remember the name of it?
Titanic Hydra.
Yep, Titanic Hydra second, and I've seen that have a lot of success. But excited to see what this ADC does. He's gonna go barrier as his option, no cleanse into Zyra Seraphine. That's gonna suck.
Yeah, and ToC pressed the attack as well, so not trying to fleet his way out through the laning phase. Maybe might have some biscuits on that inspiration tree. But what I do think is a little interesting is we were talking about the Aatrox and the Renata kind of trading positions. I don't think that they're trading roles, but we do have the players trading positions because Vaz, who we were talking about earlier, is a really good Gangplank top laner, is actually going to end up being the support for this game as Crashes is getting moved up to the top lane.
Very interesting. Maybe Crashes has a history with Aatrox, more prominent, more comfortable on the pick, so they picked the Aatrox and then moved him up there. Definitely something to ask about if we have the opportunity there. Very interesting that they swap players, not so much champions.
Yeah, and we usually see role swaps between maybe like mid and top, or sometimes ADC and mid. A lot of these kind of carry-esque roles where players are used to going one or the other. Yeah, top lane to support is not the role swap that you're used to seeing. So I will be curious to see how this kind of comes out fundamentally, if they are able to utilize their trade well. I'm thinking, if I was going to go off of pure theory, that perhaps they thought, well, maybe we should take our higher elo diamond player and move him towards the bot lane, where it's going to be a lot more volatile, where our lead is more likely to get shut down, and we really need this Twitch to pop off. That's kind of their whole carry position right now. Like, Aatrox can deal damage, but like you were saying earlier, Mundo's going to really neutralize that lane, not really going to give him a whole lot of room to get a lead. Gragas, if he's playing well, is going to be able to survive against Zeri and probably poke her out, but Zeri shouldn't really ever be picking up a kill. Oh, here we go. A little bit of action. Flash comes out from the Renata as he starts to run away. Zeri's going to pump out a little bit of damage here as they just chase them down. Tyrene's probably going to get poked out a little bit as well before he can make his way back to his tower. That's half health for both the Twitch and the Renata as the minions are walking in the lane.
Yeah, not the greatest start, as we were talking about. They needed some, really good start in the spot lane, and this is just about the worst thing to happen short of a kill. Renata being down a flash means that she's going to be one of the biggest targets in this lane, and they get free poke now. They have complete wave control. That lane's gonna suck, but we'll see how they play it out here in the top lane. They're gonna trade. Who cares? Nothing's really gonna happen.
We'll just watch the wet noodle fight as they go forward. But yeah, that Seraphine being able to proc a Dark Harvest within the first 2 minutes of the game is already insane. Pious Piper doing a good job of getting a level advantage in the mid lane, making use of the fact that Ava wasn't going to be able to be on that first wave. But there's only so much a Grog can do to really trade out health for or mana for health. And is Ava AFK?
AFK? Yeah, I was about to ask the same question. It looks like he's dancing.
Are we? Yeah, no,
Yep,
disconnected and reconnected. Are we? I guess we're not going to see a pause. Oh, then now we have.
There it is.
I guess there's the pause. Just very late.
No, I thought he was flexing about how little damage Gragas actually does. Actually, just took it, danced, and
he just
but no.
straight BM. Well, there you go. Seraphine out here asking everybody, just, how's their day going? That's nice. We love to see this nice camaraderie from our teams.
Yeah, just double checking. Likely to make sure that his internet is okay before resuming. Maybe reset his router. We'll see what he does. We'll talk a little bit about the lane states here. There's only really one lane that really matters. If we're being honest here, it's going to be this bot side as we're looking at it right now. It's going to be a bit tough. Full HP on both of this bot side here for Camp Autumn. And with that Dark Harvest proc, like you said, they have full potential to find something with that exhaust as well. They can maybe close something out when this pause ends, but actually not too great of a crash either. Going to be right in front of their tower. May give their bot lane an opportunity to stall it out, get level 3, and maybe find an all-in with this Twitch Renata.
Yep, and we're back in. I think the Twitch had a good play to begin the game, with starting off with the Doran's Ring and the double health pots. Gives them a little bit of extra sustain after taking a big chunk of damage. Not really sure why we froze here. Sometimes it doesn't like pausing and unpausing when the spectator client, so we'll give it a second to hopefully catch it up. And there it goes. All right. Everyone hold your breath. We're good. Breathe in, breathe out. But yeah, I think Twitch is going to have a difficult time sustaining his way through, but if he plays it smart, he can just sack off a wave or half a wave, just take the recall and come back. He'll be a little bit of XP down. He's not going to be winning his lane without a little bit of jungle assistance. But if he can survive long enough, Zach is pathing his way down. Very easily could punish the Zyra and the Seraphine for stepping up. And you can see they bought a couple of plants sit out in the mini-map there, just kind of blocking the river from going in. But when Zach comes flying in over the tri-bush, there's not a whole lot those plants are going to do to stop him.
Yeah, and a very interesting placement there. The idea is that when you step on a plant, you actually get vision of the person who steps on it. Doesn't really matter against a Zach. It may be... what's the term? Fake?
By the time you see him, he's already in your lane.
Yeah, he's already in the middle of jumping. So not going to do too much. He's going to get the ground bot side. Just the
Ooh.
okay, what? That was looking at bottom lane. What happened in top? Did they fight? First blood happening on the Aatrox. They're very interesting that the Mundo deciding to fight the early game Aatrox, but here we are. First blood going over to the support of this team, who is now their top laner.
Yeah, just got hit by the Q3, and you get that sweet spot in the middle. It dunks a lot of damage, so Aatrox just doing a clean auto, Q auto, and able to take out the last third health of Mundo. Mundo's known for being extremely tanky and very passive in lane, but doesn't have a whole lot of health until he starts getting some items and some experience under his belt. So gotta respect that the Aatrox, especially with the Conqueror, can just out-sustain and out-fight you if you don't back off in time. So yeah, good job to Crashes, just making use of the fact that he's got some pressure on his lane opponent, and I'm not too sure why he's taking another fight here. As Mundo's already behind enough as it is.
He's not learned his lesson, though. We're going to go into the bot side here. Zach looking for a jump. Going to get the pullback with the minion here. Good stun from Frenata. Is it going to be enough? She's going to try to go for the kill. Barrier up for the Twitch. He stays alive, and that means that she is dead as well. Aatrox pushing his luck with his jungler being on the bot side means that the trade in top lane is quick, easy, and clean. Going to be a one-for-one trade overall, but this is much more important for Gank Spank as they're able to alleviate the pressure. Do use all of their sums in the bot side here, but Renata's going to get her flash up soon. I mean, just very nice. Only down 2 CS after, honestly, a catastrophic start.
Yeah, they've done a really good job of being able to bring it back. And I think Justin 12-4-50. Justin's been doing a really good job on that Zach, just keeping up the pressure. And yeah, Maokai was able to trade it out on the top lane, kind of bring back the lanes to a neutral state. But you know, I think Gangspank definitely comes out on top. Not only do they get their bot lane kind of back to a clean, even split, but even on the top lane where it kind of got traded out against them, their Aatrox is still up a good 20 farm. Still going to be able to pressure out a lot because Mundo decided to go for the refillable potion instead of more of definitive items like maybe some armor. I kind of would have liked to see maybe like an early like cloth armor that moves into some ninja tabbies. Yeah, bramble vest for the anti-healing. Yeah, going to be able to make use of that ultimate maybe as well. Mundo's already super low on health, and they can't really step up for this wave either. So just going to have to hope that his Maokai can come back up a second time, which isn't going to be likely because Zach is currently taking these grubs as we speak. Vaz doing a good job at rotating up as well to assist with this. So we're going to be able to see, maybe a collapse on him actually.
Oh, Maokai dodging that E with his W there. Is it going to be enough? She still has her E ready. Gonna use the flash. Does pop it in time, but there's not going to be any opportunity for a kill. She's going to go down inevitably. They do leave, though, because Aatrox is close. He's going to pop his ult to see if he can find something. Gets to flash out. That's honestly a worthwhile trade there in the mid lane, giving Gragas some kill opportunity later on down the line and giving his Zach the opportunity to get all 3 grubs there. They do get the kill, but it was still a great convergence coming in from Gangspank to confirm that objective on the top side.
Yeah, and your Twitch is going to be able to collect a lot of solo XP, hopefully getting himself to level 6. So not the worst trade out here. Tyrene doing a really good job at kind of just playing back, playing safe, knowing he's in a 1v2 against 2 people who want to poke him out. Just willing to give up a couple of CS and just not want to run it down. Aatrox doing a good job at running it down.
Come on, Mundo.
Just keeping up the pressure, making use of that Conqueror's healing as well. And now Zach's posturing himself in the jungle. Justin might be able to get a gank, especially if Mundo is stepping back up after physically watching Zach clear the ward. The mad lad Mega Mom he has.
The cojones. I actually cannot believe that she's stepping up still. That pride may just be arrogance, though. I mean, we're giving a lot of opportunity for Aatrox. He does not have his ult. He certainly has his flash up. But regardless, Camp Autumn is able to find the trade of objectives onto the bot side there. Once again, very strong bot side in this Seraphine Zyra. Not much that Twitch and them can do against it. So, free first dragon. No ocean would be very nice for their quite tanky top side in Maokai and Mundo, but we'll have to see what dragon comes next.
Yeah, and it looks like Zach is posturing himself over for another gank. I'm not sure if he's going to find it. Mundo's finally kind of pushed up against his turret. Not really a whole lot you can do to punish that. So, yeah, just going to kind of posture for a little bit, look and see. Not going to find anything. Starts rotating his way mid lane. Might be trying to find this Zeri gank.
Yep, tower dive is actually viable. No flashes up for Mundo, but no ultimate, so they could have found something, maybe looking for the Zeri there, but the timing was a little bit off. She was definitely going to push that wave and then just leave. She gets her turret plate for free. Missed timing on the little gank there. I would have liked to actually see a tower dive in the top side. They had really good timing, a big wave, and Aatrox had his ultimate up. They definitely could have found something there, but playing it a little bit more safe. Just going to go ahead and clear his bottom side here. He's going to be up in CS. At least for a little bit. He might posture for the grab. Oh my goodness, that E range is ridiculous. Gets the pull. Gragas lands the E. No flash on this area means that this might be a free kill. We'll have to see. She's going to have to dodge up. Gragas ult sets up with the barrel. Very nice convergence. Every time I see Zach, I'm very surprised at how long range the E is. I'm getting caught 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, that was a clean play from both Justin and Pius Piper. Just putting out a lot of CC, doing a really good job at not just chaining their damage, but their CC
He's
as
bot
well.
side.
And he's putting up the pressure down in the bot lane as well, trying to make a gank happen on the Seraphine, but she has enough movement speed. She's going to be able to make it out clean and just kind of slow it back up. Problem, though, is that Seraphine is almost out of mana completely. Not going to be able to do well with this wave pushing into her. She wants to take this recall, but she's not going to be able to do it if she wants to make sure she maintains XP and gold advantage.
Yep, Maokai there just to cover to make sure nothing else happens. Zach gonna back off as well. It was a decent back from Gank Spank. I mean, weren't able to push it in all the way, but once again, you take it where you can. Only down maybe around 15 CS here. Gonna be a little bit behind, but I think that's inevitable in this lane here as I talk about it endlessly. I think it's probably the most interesting lane we're gonna see. But they have done a good job at making the other lanes have a lot of impact here. Underestimating the Aatrox means that Aatrox is now in the lead, and Aatrox in the lead has so much kill potential, especially if he goes for some of the more damaging items, maybe like an opportunity or Profaned Hydra is the name of the lethality variant of it. But gonna go for Sundered Sky instead. More bruisery, so at this point we may see a Sterix Gauge at that stance, something of this sort. So not gonna do as much damage as he could, but gonna be a very reliable front line as we see more and more items built out.
Yeah, and I want to point out just like both teams doing a really good job in general of keeping this even. And I know we've seen a lot of good plays come out from both sides. We saw the Zeri got caught out. We saw the bot lane get chunked out at level 1. We've seen the top lane with a solo kill. But both teams have done a solid job at making sure that nothing is going too far against their favor. I wouldn't be surprised if the Maokai even gets out of here. We'll see if I speak too soon. Aatrox really wants to go in for it. Maokai does make it out with the blasting cone, but now Ava's going to have to back out. Zeri's trying to kite this one out, but the Gragas ultimate is going to lock her down. And there it goes. Another kill over for Crash's Aatrox.
I mean, honestly, we're seeing a lot of amazing team play coming in from both of these teams. Something that was a big personal gripe in some of the previous matches that I've seen was that the teams weren't really playing together. But in this game, both teams are actually converging on objectives extremely well, trading where they can find them and finding these early skirmishes, not in 1v1s, but in 2v2s and 3v3s. They're playing as a team, and I mean, that was a very good convergence from Gank Spank to find that kill, to get that Maokai off of the Krugs there, and to get 5 for the team. He is able to take 1, but getting 5 is more than enough to find some huge advantage here. And they may have the priority for the Dragon as well to shut that down.
Yeah, and they're going to make their way down towards it as well. Looks like they're going to try to pick up some vision. Maybe try to collapse in on the Zeri. She should be able to get out, but bot lane's taking up a lot of damage. Tyreen going to have to burn the barrier just to survive. And with the bailout, too, he's not really at risk of death, but he is going to have to take that recall, which is quite unfortunate. They're both trying to contest for this dragon that's about to spawn, and Tyreen has to leave. There's no way he can stick around for that.
And I am a little bit confused at the flash ult, and then more importantly why it worked. Twitch had his flash up, so seeing the flash and then the ultimate, I think it was a missed buffer flash on that. You definitely could have just reacted, flashed out of the way, taken much less damage, and still had some priority for the dragon there. But regardless, he does take the recall, and they are going to get their second dragon, get the dragon stacking going here. That one is Kibtech. Thank goodness it's not that one for Camp Autumn here.
Yeah.
And what is the third dragon? Oh, Hexdrake Soul. That's
that,
actually very good for Zeri.
Yeah, I would say both Zeri, Seraphine, and Zyra are all going to love that. Only one who's really making use of that Chemtech Soul is probably Mundo. I don't think Maokai is going to have enough damage to really make use of it, just surviving a little bit longer in the front line. But yeah, they're definitely going to be wanting that soul here soon. And if they can keep up the pressure too, then those early grubs don't really matter a whole lot. If the enemy team isn't even touching your towers because you're just stat checking them, then those grubs aren't going to do a whole lot in the fight. And
yeah, but it does open. Ooh.
Maokai ult comes in. Aatrox is super pushed up. He's not going to be able to get back to his tower on time. Going to choose to take the 1v2. Ultimate comes out, and Mundo doing a good job at playing around his own tower. Aatrox trying to kite it out with the Conqueror, but he's not going to have enough damage. Zach comes flying in from the back of the line. Goes flash forward for the added knockback. Aatrox trying to keep up with some damage. Gragas is going in as well. Is he going to be able to take some damage under the tower? Well, it doesn't look like they're going for the dive just yet. Wanting to get the... Oh, they are going for the dive. They just want to get the minions under, make sure they get the debuff going. Gragas is going to tank up as much as he can. Zach does some damage with his EW combo. Passive going to come out, and Zeri's going to be able to clean this one up. 1 and 2. TP comes out to protect the Zach. Aatrox is coming back in for round 2. Now that he's full health, he's going to be able to take the Mundo down. Ava's going to have to fall out as well. Doing a good job at kiting out so far. Aatrox is going to be able to hit her with a Q, though. She has to be careful. Dodges it with a sidestep. Oh, my word.
Oh, and I think that may be the end of a very long topside skirmish there. 3 people on both sides coming in and converging. The mid lane, the junglers, and the top lane all fighting. Crashies wants something here. Goes for the Q, lands it. She has no flash. Is it going to be a trade? No. Just enough health to actually get the kill and get out and take the tower. The TP is going to be wasted there. Aatrox gets that for free. That's the first turret down, and the TP from Mundo down as well. To call out that play, I mean, it was actually, once again, amazing convergences from both teams there. Zach always in the right place in the right time, as we see he's actually in the right place here too. Burning the flash on that bot side, unable to get away. He's going to land the E there as well. Can anyone go into converge? Gragas is going to be coming in from the mid lane here. No flash, anything of the sort already used. It's going to be a free kill over to Gragas. I mean, Zach is in the right place at the right time, finding a way to save his Aatrox from certain death there, and actually turning it into what I believe was a, oh, good lord, 3 for 2, 3 for 1, 3 for 3? 3 for 2 probably, I think is the final tally on that one. Regardless of the even or winning trade there, most of those kills went to the Aatrox, who is now 4 and 1. Last time we saw him, he had just a Sundered Sky. He's now on the Black Cleaver. This guy is far ahead. I think nearly 60 CS up as well. 7,500 gold, 3,000 gold up on his opponent. We're going to see this guy actually maybe run the show from this point on.
Yeah, I mean, he's almost single-handedly got the entire team gold difference in his pocket right now. And we see Zach comes flying in yet again. The bailout's not going to be quite enough. Ava's going to be able to kite that out. Doing a good job at trying to stay back, but isn't really a whole lot for him to go. He's trying to stay alive, but he doesn't have enough damage. Maokai's coming in from the back line to support him, and so is Seraphine. He's not going to be able to make it out just yet. Maokai's going to keep up the pressure, though. Bunch of AP damage is going to come out on that Zach. He's finally going to burst and pop. Seraphine gets the double kill.
My goodness. And then once again, we see it on this time Camp Autumn's side. Zeri in the back line trying to find time, and she finds just enough time for the rest of the cavalry to come in there. I mean, converging in, getting 2 kills there on the Twitch and the well-endowed Zach, we'll say. A lot of gold on him as well. And, I mean, teamwork is the name of the game with these two teams. It's not so much, one person having a lot of skill and outplaying everyone else. It's the team finding ways and finding the time to work together to find objectives, to find these team fights, to find these skirmishes. I'm actually very proud of the way that both of these teams are playing.
Yeah, Zach goes flying in yet again, catching out the Maokai here. And I don't think he's going to have enough health to walk away. Zach's going to try to pull him back in. Doesn't have anything to tag him to, but it's just going to throw his body at him. And
it's a kill.
That's going to be another kill for the Zach, and they're going to be able to translate that into a dragon, put themselves on the map, try to delay this soul a little bit. That's going to be super useful, not just for the kill sake, but the longer they can keep this game going, the longer they can get this Twitch to start carrying. Ava looks like he's going to get caught out, pops the ultimate, but isn't going to have anywhere to go. Gragas tucks him back further against his tower, and the Aatrox is going to be able to just run him down with some autos and a Q. That's another kill going over to Crash's Aatrox with an impressive 3,500 gold lead just on this Aatrox alone. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, and I mean, it was a bit of a misplay as far as timing goes coming in from Ava there. Not aware of exactly what the intention was on the team with the dragon spawning as close as it was almost inevitable that they were going to stay in that bot side there. Just not respecting the amount of people that were allowed to stay in that bot side while waiting for that dragon. Giving over a free pick and almost confirming that dragon there. Delaying the dragon stacking is very important. They are going to probably trade the Herald for it as well. Not needed, I don't want to say, as both the top and the bottom are almost about to die anyway, but good to confirm some gold with that. At least trade the objective over. But still, I would say that this is a pretty big win for Gangspank.
Yeah, well, and Aatrox is on the hunt as well. They saw him clearing that ward out just before they started taking that Rift Herald, and Crashes knows darn well that Maokai's not taking Rift Herald very quickly, so I think we're about to see a big team fight come out for this Rift Herald as they start to possibly go away. Yep, Zach comes flying in, catches out the Zyra with the knockup, and there goes the Renata ultimate, making sure to clean up a nice clean kill. Tyrene's in the back line putting out a lot of damage, but it doesn't really matter. Zyra's already dead. Aatrox is going to stay in on the fight. Flashes forward a couple times, but Whitehead is trying to make his way out with the Seraphine. He's not going to be able to get all the way out. Another kill for Twitch, and enough CC is going to give him maybe a triple. Goes over to the Aatrox instead. 6-1-2 for Crash's Aatrox now, and that puts Tyrene on the map 2-1-4 himself. They're going to be able to rotate up to that Rift Herald if they still want it.
Yeah, and I mean, just not respecting the range of this Zac. He's finding engage after engage, finding ways to catch the enemy team out there. The Zyra getting caught out first, and the team trying to find their best opportunity to get her out means that more and more people are lulled into this fight, and all of them are taken out. Aatrox overextending in the mid lane here as this team is unable to get the Herald in time before Baron spawns. He's just going to go down. Unfortunately, that's actually a shutdown going in for the Zeri, finding her way to claw her way back to that third item there. But regardless, I mean, it is still a positive on the play even after that shutdown. Oh, maybe not. That's 450 gold. Jesus.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit of gold going over to this area.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, it was a great play from the Zac to find the opportunity to get that Twitch who wasn't visible into that back line and taking out the very squishy carries there.
Yeah, I think the Zeri is going to be able to make use of that gold pretty well. Was able to back and get not only the Last Whisper, but the Executioner's Calling as well. So working on both Armor Pen and the healing reduction. It's going to be very useful for both Aatrox and Zac getting shut down. As well as Gragas, who also built the Steel Caps, just trying to take out as much of that Zeri damage as possible. And honestly, I don't blame him. Zac's going to come flying in over the wall. Ava's getting caught out. Really going to try to burn down the tower, but I don't think he's... Oh, he's going to have barely enough damage. The kill goes over to Justin Zac. 4-2-6. Just a mighty terror going across this map. And they're going to be able to take a Baron off that from the looks of it. We'll see if they have the damage for it. I believe with both the Twitch and the Aatrox, they're going to be able to plow through this thing before the other team can catch up.
Now listen, I'm getting caught from this Zac too. I mean, this guy, I don't know how Justin does it. He always seems to be in the perfect area at the perfect time there, finding the one time that she's overextended, finding a kill. Oh my goodness, what a Renata ult. Finding 3 there, giving time for the Aatrox to go in to try and get the Seraphine. Gragas is on the back lane as well. Aatrox is going to find the second kill, which is now 3rd in total with that Zeri going down. I mean, with no Zeri there's not a lot of damage. I mean, the whole team's going to crash and burn here. That's 4 down for the team. They're just going to go right back to Baron, and they're going to take it. I mean, it's very interesting that they even walk up, considering that there's Zeri, the person with the majority of their damage, their kills, their gold, is already dead.
Yeah, and Zeri's just going to be able to try to take a mid tower off that. Pious Piper is going to try to take him down. We'll see if they end up converting that or not.
They really shouldn't let the Maokai walk up. Yep, he's going to go ahead back out. Nothing too much is going to happen. They're just going to go ahead and grab the Baron, get a nice reset going. And I mean, yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about this bottom lane being the Seraphine Zyra. In the lane, they're very strong, but in these team fights, when we have an Aatrox who's this strong, we have a Zac who's this tanky. We have a Gragas who, you know, not technically tanky, but he gives himself about 25% damage reduction on his W. He might as well be tanky. All of these 3 beefy frontline walking in front and honestly finding these very nice flanks. I mean, what are these guys going to do besides CC? Their CC is very good, but without damage behind it, I mean, you knock them up for 2.5 seconds, and then what? They're just going to go and re-engage.
Yeah, and they have their Zeri for their damage carry, but 1, Zeri's got to be in the fight, and 2, you can't have your Zeri buying all these support sustain items when she's also trying to be the main damage dealer. Taking the 1v1 against Crash's Aatrox, and is going to be able to get it from the looks of it. Aatrox has a lot of healing. He's going to make use of the fact that there's no vision in that bush. Good flash comes out from Ava. You're going to get the bailout. Not quite going to be enough. That's a double kill for Ava's Zeri so far. Zac comes flying in, but Gragas is going to pick up the kill. And that's another one in the pocket for Pious Pipers' Gragas.
Oh, we've seen it so many times. We've seen it, I mean, pretty much every game. We get to this point where someone is ahead and they get a little bit too overzealous. I mean, Zeri is able to get caught out with some proper CC, but buddy, you're Aatrox. You got to land the CC. You would really much rather have a Zac or a Gragas with some more guaranteed CC right behind you. A little bit delayed on the engage, but not to blame it on the team. I really do think the Aatrox pushed a little bit too quickly, too fast, but the rest of the team, now that Zeri is dead, we'll find some opportunities to actually still find engages here. It'll be mostly the Zac and the Gragas being able to run as, I mean, really a train on this backline here. Gragas going to find his way out. Zac extremely tanky, not anyone who can really do anything about it. Seraphine finding the Q on the back lane is going to be able to find that kill as well. Cavalry is coming in to make sure that the Zac is down. Pushing it a little bit too far for his liking, but he is going to continue the fight here. Getting his healing, flashes for the kill, unable to get it with the grievous wounds. He's going to go down. Zeri is back in action. She's going to get a double kill there. They are going to be able to close out this dragon and get their third dragon. They're on soul point from a weird fight. I'm going to be honest here. They were still able to continue it, but they pushed a little bit too far against Spank there. With their carries down, particularly the Twitch not being around and the Aatrox being dead, they fall into the same exact problem that Camp Autumn did maybe about 30 seconds ago in trying to take a fight without their carries.
Yeah, and they ended up turning the gold lead around as well. We were seeing about 3 to 4K from the difference before, and now we're looking at just about 2,000, maybe a little bit more. And especially in that top lane, that's really the only lead you really see. And at this point, Mundo doesn't really need the gold that Aatrox has in his pocket. I mean, he's going to be tanky enough to do what he needs to do, which is be a big distraction in the front line anyways. He's got the Warm Bogs. He's working his way towards what looks like to be a Thornmail and or a Sunfire's Cape. So just building up tons of AD resistance. Gragas is going to hurt a little bit, but I don't think Gragas is going to have the burst necessary to take that Mundo to 100 to 0. And with nobody building healing reduction on Gank Spank, he's just going to be able to heal anything and everything that he wants. If he doesn't die, you're going to have to kill him all over again.
Yeah, and I mean, meanwhile, on the other side, I didn't have a lot of opportunity with all the action that's been going on here. Definitely not great itemization coming in from Camp Autumn. We have 3 different people with heal reduction. Mundo and Maokai both with the Bramble, and Zeri with the Mortal Reminder there. Very interested. That's the wrong word. I'm a little annoyed that we're saying so many anti-healing options with Mundo and Maokai both building those Bramble Vests very early on. And Zeri's still deciding to go with the more supporting option of that Mortal Reminder, with the person with all the gold, with all the money, with all of the team on her back as far as getting the damage output goes. I really would have liked to have seen something else in that place. Not a Mortal Reminder. Last Whisper, I believe, is the variant of that. Oh no, Lord Dom's Regard.
Yeah, LDR.
Sorry.
Lord Dominic's Regard.
Yeah, LDR. That with the Infinity Edge would have done a lot of damage here. She's still going to do a lot, just not as much as she could be at a 4-item power spike. Meanwhile, talking about Mundo taking damage. He's very tanky, not really the person you want to jump on, giving the opportunity for the enemy team to find a counter engage. Renata going to get the disengage, but Zac does not want to hear any of that noise. He's going right back in. His team does not have the opportunity to follow up on it. He's going to get Renata killed as well. That's going to be a 2 for 0. Once again, for no real reason. I don't know why they're going in on the Mundo specifically. Not the guy you want to catch out, especially when we have Zeri in the bot lane kind of harassing the Aatrox, not giving him an opportunity to enter into the team fight. She's just going to be able to wave clear for free, push him into their inhibitor turret there, and get him to back up with such little HP.
Yeah, I think they're still under this impression that Mundo is still the same little level 3 top laner that they were abusing earlier on in the game. They don't seem to understand that Mundo has reached a point in this game where you don't get to just run him down in lane. And in fact, he's doing it. Oh my word! Safa Zeri
Jesus.
popping over the wall and just bursting Tyreen. That Twitch died in 2 shots. Didn't even get a chance to breathe. And Zac pinging in the Zeriar just to make sure everyone's aware that her ultimate is down. I'd do the same thing in solo queue.
Listen, I was talking about 4-item power spike specifically against the tanks. If you don't have health, Zeri's still going to kill you at 4 items, regardless of what 4 items she has, short of 4 tiers or something. Absolutely exploding the Twitch, no opportunity to counterplay at all. He's 2-2-6, not a lot of impact into this game. It's mostly really just been the Aatrox and the gang of tanks that are rolling up with him. The Renata finding great ultimates herself, but I mean, Twitch just not having the opportunity to really find time to farm or find gold or anything of the sort. And with the lanes now being in the state that they're in, he's not going to have a lot of opportunity to find side lanes to get gold as well. And I mean, this is coming off of the back of two relatively cheap items with Runon's Hurricane and Bork, and he's still down 2.5 items. Zeri finding something here. Maokai using the ult behind. Aatrox TP gonna close it out. She put herself in front of him, and he. Okay, she died immediately. Aatrox is going to be able to find an opportunity here. Exhaust on him. He's going to slow him down, but still not going to slow him down. No, actually, no, it did slow him down enough. Zyra ult cleaning house as well, but Twitch on the left side there, finding the kill on the Zyra. It's going to be 2 people down. 2 for 1 so far. Renata is going to go down as well. Zach going to be trying to find the engage, but Maokai with a great Q to shut that down in its tracks. Aatrox with no one behind him is going to be forced to leave at some point. He's going to go in front of the tower and die immediately. Once again, a little bit too overzealous. There is, in fact, a tower there, and Gragas was not there to capitalize with you. Turning that 2 for 1 and, I mean, great dragon control into a 2 for 2 that now gets a lot more ugly as Twitch has not a lot of HP. It's going to be mainly the Mundo and the Zac that are going to have to find some opportunity to close this out, to find a fight and to push these guys away, or maybe just to stall. No, they're going to decide to go for it anyway. Dragon resets down to 8k, 7k HP. Seraphine does not have an ultimate. I'm not sure if they are recognizing that, though. 3k HP. It's going to be a smite fight here. Oh, my goodness. Neither jungler gets it. And Zeri on the backline with the TP is going to find 1. She's going to find 2. She may even find 3 here. No E to go over the wall. Zac, unable to get his jump off. Yep, that is going to be the 3rd kill. Will they give it to the Zeri? Yes, they will. And now Zeri is almost at, I mean, at critical point. She is almost at full items here.
Oh,
and I mean,
my word. Maceo, I'm surprised you haven't passed out. That was a long cluster of a fight. Raspy. And it's still going. Maokai is going to ult to try to keep the team off while they take this mid turret. Not even going to need to take the Baron, just opting to take the inhib. Probably going to back out for the Baron here in a little bit. They need to do a little bit of wave clear on the vision control over there. Spank has that entire jungle side just completely lit up. But yeah, that was an insane fight. I think what we watched was a solo queue bonanza there, as everyone deciding that they were the main character. They were going to flash in and get the kill, only to realize that they were the ones getting killed. And what we saw was a big game of cat and mouse as they just went back and forth, just trying to pick up, okay, if we lost the player here, maybe that means I need to flash forward to pick up this kill. Okay, don't worry, guys, I got the kill. Oh, no, I ended up dying. Don't worry, bro, I'll flash in and get a kill to protect you and avenge you. Okay, I ended up getting the kill. Oh, dang, I ended up dying myself. Oh, don't worry, I'm alive again. I can TP back in to avenge you. And we just watched that for a solid 3 minutes straight.
Yeah, and I mean, besides my voice, there's a lot of people going down there in that fight. I mean, I really wish that Spank really adopted the mantra, you know, dance with the ones that brought you. It's a very important mantra, and they lost sight of what got them the lead in the first place. They're very good at converging with these champions, converging in these team fights, in these skirmishes, but you got to remember that in these skirmishes, you need the damage to kill them. The Zac is finding great engages. The Renata is right behind her with great ultimates, but if you don't have an Aatrox or a Twitch to really close it out, is there any point in landing these engages? And the answer is very obviously no. They had such a strong lead, and now they're down 2,000. The enemy team is on sole point, and this Zeri now has 6 items. If you count the boots, I usually do, but, you know, if you don't, we'll say 5. But for all intents and purposes, 6 items. And, I mean, she's going to find a pick here as well. We're not there to close it out, but now Zac looking for something, missing the Q, going to have to back out. Zeri just so slippery. Very hard to catch her in the state that she's in now. They're going to have to back away, especially with the Baron and the team right behind her. And I mean, we saw that Aatrox was the one running the show, and then he got a little bit too overzealous in that bottom lane looking for the 1v1. And in the mid lane, they're giving her 2 very key shutdowns. And then kind of neutralizing his own lead. And now he's reduced to nothing but really just kind of like a bruiser bot. If he can find an opportunity to land the Qs, he can maybe find a way to close it out with some further CC, but he's a far cry from the one-shotting monster he was before. What the heck is Zac doing? He whiffed on there was no one even near that E. I mean, Renata landing a very good triple ultimate there, but I mean, the front line crumbled almost immediately. Zac jumping in for nothing. I'm very disappointed to see that in Justin, who's been very strong. Besides that one blunder, and that one blunder may be the game right there, as they're going to take both the towers. I mean, it's just Twitch and Aatrox. They have nothing to supplement the damage right in front of them, and the Zeri's going to kill both of them pretty much on her own. That is going to be Camp Autumn getting their 4th win and remaining undefeated in this tournament.
Yeah, that is definitely the way we want to see these fights go. Back and forth, just really, really clean gameplay at the end. Camp Autumn just doing an amazing job at making sure that they can land their damage where they need, punishing the overextension. And look at that Zeri damage, 61, almost 62,000 damage from this Zeri alone.
Team on the back. Oh, every last one of them.
That was insane. But those of you guys who are in chat, you just watched the same game we did. And now we have a question that we need to ask you and ourselves. Who do we want to pull in for the interview in this game? I feel like the obvious answer is Ava Zeri, but we've already heard from Ava before in the previous game, so I'd like to give the opportunity over to someone else on the team. I think we had a bunch of good gameplay from around. We saw Mega Mommy doing a good job of just kind of neutralizing that early lane, only dying 3 times collectively in the entire game. So really doing a good job at understanding her role. We saw Sneaky's Maokai with tons of great ultimates engaging in on these fights. Whited on Seraphine, Autumn Sauce on Zyra, both doing their perfectly fine roles down in the bot lane. I think they did everything that they could. I'm seeing votes for Whited to comment on the Zeri gameplay. Whited definitely known for being a Zeri main, one of his prime candidates. So probably was originally picked for him. To see him pivoted over to the mid lane, I would be interested to see how he thought that the game went. But we'll leave it up for another minute or so. You guys get your votes in now, those of you who want. Maceo, is there anybody you want to hear from? Is anything that you stood out to you?
Actually, I think I would want to talk to Whited. I think the last time that we played, he was actually the Zeri, and I mean, he really ran the show. I mean, we were able to see it in that mid lane as well. So I'm interested to see if he was, willing to give that power over to Itachi in the mid lane, or if the team, decided for him, like, hey, buddy, hop on that Seraphine. We're gonna need that Zeri in mid. I think Whited's a pretty good choice.
Yeah, we'll see if he's available. I would also be interested to see if Justin might be available as well. He was absolutely tearing it up on the map there. And I definitely would love to see where his brain was at for that last engage. But we'll see if we can get Whited in really quick, and we'll see where he's at with where we're currently moving to.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
I mean, absolutely yoinked him. How you doing, Whited?
Relieved that we won.
Stressful game, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's how scrims went against them too. So I was worried, but I'm glad that we won. It kind of stabilized in the mid game.
Yeah, the early game, although y'all weren't super behind, definitely felt like you guys had your backs against the wall. We noticed from our end that Zach was absolutely tearing you guys up. Did you guys feel the same way, or were y'all feeling pressured from a different angle?
No, I don't ever felt worried about the Zach. I think top lane was we obviously started building some healing reduction, so we were we're gonna be fine. But yeah, I think it was more Aatrox was how are we gonna deal with that when it becomes a 5v5?
Yeah, we noticed that we had 3 heal reductions coming out from your team. We had the 2 Bramble Vests from the top in the jungle, and then we had the Mortal Reminder coming out from the Zeri mid. And that was something we were curious about. You're a resident Zeri main. We figured we'd drag you in to ask about the build path that Ava decided to go in for this match. Do you believe that the Mortal Reminder was the correct move looking forward through the rest of the game? Because we were thinking LDR would have just made more sense considering you already had the healing reduction from the previous 2 players.
I mean, I think he actually got it before the tanks did, but I wasn't gonna get it, so I was cool with him getting it.
Well, that was another thing, is we were curious to see if maybe you on the Seraphine or if Autumn on the Zyra was going to pick up an Oblivion Orb, since you guys have the ability to spread damage across an entire team pretty easily. Just didn't seem like it was necessary for the Mortal Reminder on the Zeri, but definitely wasn't a bad play by any means. I mean, obviously, Ava was able to put the damage to good work, rocking in a clean 62k. Absolutely insane gameplay from him. But where was y'all's heads at during the draft? Because we noticed that you all kind of just locked in your own team. your own play champions. So we didn't really get to see what y'all's thought process was when y'all were drafting
Oh,
initially.
yeah. Also, they didn't draft in order either. So the draft's just like I can tell you what happened. We drafted Zeri first pick, and
Okay.
then
Mm.
they in response drafted Twitch Zach, I think, and then we drafted Maokai Seraphine. So that's why their bans on the second half were all towards Satchel because they thought our bot lane was, and then they drafted Renata, so they thought our bot lane was uh, Zeri Seraphine, so they were banning more mid lane AD carries that he was going to play. But our plan was to flex it to mid the whole time. We were going to play, and then we picked Zyra for support, and then we blinded Mundo, and they countered with Aatrox.
That's what we kind of figured because from our end, y'all first picked the Mundo, which we were like, wow, that's a bold play to burn your first pick blue slot on Dr. Mundo. And then we noticed that the Aatrox came out as well. So we kind of assumed from the get-go that Aatrox was supposed to be a counter to Mundo. And that's kind of what we saw as well. Mundo getting the solo kill. We weren't expecting the solo kill to come out, but we also weren't shocked that it came. It's definitely a little bit of a skill check, and I guess Mega Mommy wasn't expecting a high burst damage from the Q auto that Aatrox puts out in the early levels. But I think what worked out well that your team did do a good job of was that Mundo, especially Mega Mommy, learned and performed her role significantly better as the game went on, and just became kind of a distraction. Like wasn't really putting out a lot of damage, didn't really need to. It was just being an utter nuisance in the back line, just making sure that when she moves over to the side lanes, that 2 or 3 people are chasing her down, trying to kill her. One thing that I want to ask as well, and Maceo, I'm sorry if I'm just blowing through all these questions for you, but another thing, we noticed an insane amount of TPs coming out from these fights that were going off across the map. Were you guys intending for the game to be so bloody, or was it just kind of a reactionary in the moment type thing?
I felt like it was there. We like were just playing safe, and they kind of were using a lot of resources, and like their goal was to get kills, but I don't think they were getting much off of it because like usually like what happens is like you have those type of games and your base is also going with it, but we actually had like the same if not more turrets than them, so I felt like the gold was a lot closer than it should have been for the kill lead they had, especially when they got the first Baron.
Yeah. Yeah, but we just noticed it was extremely scrappy. Like one person would fly in, they wouldn't quite get the kill. We'd see somebody else flash in for the kill. They'd end up dying, and then the enemy team would flash in to avenge their teammate. And it was just a lot of back and forth, lots of these long-winded fights. And so we were just kind of curious, like as far as the comms were concerned, like was it people kind of cheering, like, oh, like I need your help, like TP to my blob, or or help me out here, or was it more of just like you happen to be in the area, so of course I'm gonna path over to the fight.
Yeah, I think it was more like Satchel was so strong, so we were like he would live long or he'd get some kills so we could like had time to get there. And then obviously like on the other side lane is Mundo, so he's not gonna like die right away. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like we could I think we definitely had champions that gave us time. I think the only time that we had a fight that happened that we didn't know could happen or that we didn't want to happen was like mid lane when we got jumped when Zyra and Maokai and me got jumped on. I think that was the only time. And then they got Baron off of it, obviously. So it's like, because everything else, like, there was nothing for them to gain from doing those plays. It was just kills.
Yeah.
So we pretty much had like the idea of like this could go this way, but there's not like either like Satchel's dying for the tower. Like we understood like the potential of what we were losing, but we were always getting something, or there was nothing like significant.
Mm. Mason, I know I've kind of steamrolled through these questions. Did you have anything you wanted to ask before we sign off?
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I'm actually just I guess very excited to hear that a lot of these teams are already very aware of targeted bans, and just very aware of how to play around it with these fake outs in mid and bot lane with things like Zeri, and Kane and things like that that we've seen. I'm very surprised at how quickly that meta has evolved, and I guess how aware a lot of these teams are about which fights are going to happen and where, because a lot of the team fights I was basically just talking straight for around 4 minutes as skirmishes were happening over and over and over again, and to hear that a lot of those were kind of planned and almost inevitable, I mean it's very interesting.
Yeah, definitely some big brain macro going on from both these teams. And that's what we expect when we look at the top side of the bracket here in the tournament. Just lots of skill being super, super high. The ceiling is really tough to catch. But I got to say, as the other undefeated team, we're coming for you.
I mean, yeah. I mean, you should take a play out of their book. I know I didn't pick it, but that was the first game that they didn't ban Jinx. So, but luckily I have Tyrene added, so I saw that he was playing like 10 games of Twitch, so I didn't pick it. So that was good scouting by me, done at 2 hours ago.
Smart. Didn't want to have to be stuck on the exhaust all game.
No, I just can't play that lane personally, so it's like we knew it was coming, and then we kind of baited it out with the Zeri, which was cool, because then like Twitch is terrible in the double mage, so it was like that made that pretty free. We just had to worry about ganks.
Yeah, well, and that level 1 chunk out too with Zeri roaming down, that was just dirty.
Yeah, he was kind of done. Like even the gank didn't help him. It just couldn't. There was yeah, because like Twitch can't even really play into Seraphine at any point. So.
Nope.
Well, we're going to be excited to see what Camp Autumn does here in the next few weeks as the weeks go on. I'm personally excited because I know our teams are going to have to play at some point, which means only one of us can walk away with an undefeated streak afterwards. So that'll be exciting. Maybe I might record the VOD, throw that one up on the stream. We'll see if we can figure something out for that. I think it'll be exciting. But until then, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Wyded, thanks for joining in for the quick interview at the end. Did you want to say anything to your team or to the fans before we sign off here today?
Don't ban Jinx. Don't ban Zeri. I'm tired of playing mages. Thank you.
Don't target ban. You know, I'd like to say the same thing. Those of you who play against my team, please stop banning out my bird. I really wish to play her. She's not that strong. Just let it happen.
I agree. Just let it, just do blind pick. Like what's the
Yeah.
What?
All right. Meso, do you want to say anything before we sign off?
Nope, my voice is pretty much gone.
I don't blame you.
Thank you for that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in for another round 4 of the Loafland Tournament of Champions. If you enjoyed what you watched and you're not already a part of our community, feel free to hit follow and keep up with the streams for the next few weeks. Or you could always join our Discord if you want to get involved with the tournaments directly. We have tons of fun. We have a bunch of local events as well, not these big-winded tournaments all the time. So if you just want to hop in for a quick fun event or hop in with some ranked or some norms with some friends, it's a great community to come in and join in. We play all sorts of other games as well, not just limited to League. So definitely give the Loafland Discord a check if that's something you're interested in. You can always throw it in the Twitch chat here, and we'll be happy to throw the link in with you. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. If you want to join in for next week to watch the same, we're going to be doing round 5 of the Tournament of Champions, and hopefully we'll be able to feature in some of the last teams that haven't made it out yet. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, guys.